Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to talk about how to become a better public speaker. Myself, Kazi Hisham, Vice President of Debating Forum of IUBAT. It is not an overstatement that DFI is one of the best forum in IUBAT campus. So I would like to thank all the valuable executive members and general members for their love and dedication. Giving up should never be an option. They always say that failure is not an option, but I think failure should be an option, because when you fail, then you get up, and then you fail, and then you get up, and that's keep you going. That is how humans are strong. That is how debaters are strong. That is how public speakers are strong. I think we are perfectly imperfect, and that is perfectly alright. So let's dive into the topic, but before that I want to say that it is going to be a quite long video because I have decided to cover a lot of things today. I know that you are already a good public speaker, but I have got 5 specific public speaking tips for you which can help you to become a better one. And the first one is to pay very close attention to your rate of speech when you are on stage. Most inexperienced speakers tend to speak a lot more quickly than they think they are speaking, and it's because when you are on stage you have all this anxiety and you have all the materials up in your head and you are just trying to get through it and as quickly as possible, because the number one thing you want to do is get off stage to where nobody is judging you anymore, right? But the problem is this is not a Facebook group video. The people sitting in the audience aren't looking at a bunch of other tabs in the browser, and they are not liable to click away after 2 minutes. They have sat there and they are decided some time to listening to what you are going to say. So if you can slow down and give them some breathing room, then they are going to be able to contemplate what you have said and more easily follow with what you are talking about. Also, your rate of speech isn't the only thing you can control to make your speech better. You can also employ strategic pauses to highlight certain points. Now, there is a lot of speeches that I have watched to study to become a better public speaker myself. But there is actually a great one that I really like and want to use as an example here. And it is the 2023 TED Talks that the producers of the movie Prometheus put out as an advertisement for the movie. And in this TED Talk, Guy Pearce's character is talking about cybernetic individuals and basically his ambitions to take over the world. But when I watched this, I thought it was a fantastic piece of study for public speaking.
T.E. Lawrence, eponymously of Arabia, but very much an Englishman, favored pinching a burning match between his fingers to put it out. When asked by his colleague William Potter to reveal his trick, how is it he so effectively extinguished the flame without hurting himself whatsoever, Lawrence just smiled and said, "The trick, Potter, is not minding it hurts."
Now, another thing Guy Pearce does amazingly in this video is my second tip, which is pay attention to your body language. And this is important for 2 specific reasons. Number 1, your body language forms a large part of your non-verbal communications. That is completely the verbal communication of your words. The way you are hold yourself, the way you are poised your posture, the way you have moved your hands and gestures to highlight certain points, these all go hand in hand with the words you are speaking and can help to complement the drive home those points. But the other reason is that the unconscious body language that a lot of inexperienced speakers have is something that can harm you. We have a lot of nervous tics. For example, when I was an inexperienced speaker just starting out, a lot of things that I would do, I would put my hands in my pockets. My third tip is to consciously try to improve your ability to make eye contact with your entire audience. Now, one thing rocky speakers do a lot of times is they will fixate on one section of the audience and they will stay there during their entire speech because they are nervous. But the problem is there are people over here and your entire audience are the people you are addressing. So you want to make sure you're trying to make eye contact with each and every single person during your speech. Now, I know it can be difficult to make eye contact when you are already nervous about being on stage. So you can employ a classic speaker's trick, which is simply look over the heads of the people in the back row who are far enough away that they probably won't be able to tell that you are not directly looking them in the eye. Now the fourth tip: practice, practice and practice. When you think you have practiced all you could have potentially ever practiced, do it again. The idea here is not to practice your speech until you have get it right, but to practice your speech until you can't get it wrong. And this is because mastery helps you to get you through any anxiety you are feeling. So the more of a concrete grasp you have on your material, the more likely you are going to be able to get past those anxiety blockers. Get the thoughts out of your brain, through your lips and into the ears of the eager audience. Now on that note, you might be thinking, well, my public speaking teacher told me not to memorize my speech, but this guy is telling something different. Well, in general, I do agree with that piece of advice, but I want to drill into it and give a little bit more of a specific option on it. So in my mind, you should not write your speech out like an essay and try to memorize it word for word. If you do that, you're not going to sound natural. You're going to sound robotic. You're going to sound, well, like you're reading. But I do think you should write your speech out in the form of bullet points. Have the main points listed out. Have any details and facts and statistics and figures you want to cite written out, and memorize those. So when you get on stage, you don't have anything in your hands except maybe a presentation remote. Now, another final note on practice is that practice works for individual speeches, but it is also something that is going to make you a better public speaker over time. So if you feel like right now your public speaking skills aren't the level you want them to be, the best way to get better is to simply speak again and again and again. And give speeches in front of mirror, which I definitely recommend you should do. Now, tips number 5 is also related to practice, but it's little bit a technical improvement you can make to your practice, and it's to do exactly what I'm doing right now. When you practice, take a video camera with you and film yourself. This is what I would do every single time I had a speech in my university. I would go find an empty classroom in IUBAT campus, sometimes in 803 or 712. And with my first few runs, I wouldn't videotape it because I was just trying to get the material down in my head. So I memorized it all. But once I had the material down, then I would film myself doing each and every take. And afterwards, I would watch the take, review each aspect of my performance and pick out the things that could be improved. This is a huge upgrade over just practicing for an empty room because you're not always aware of the things you're doing. Maybe you are looking back at the slides too often, or maybe you are passing too much. But the tape doesn't lie. Don't think you need to be perfect. Focusing on perfection is the number one way to trip yourself up. Don't worry about being perfect. Just get on a stage and deliver the best speech you can give. There is a book I read in my first semester called Confessions of a Public Speaker by a guy named Scott Barkon. I highly recommend it if you want to get better at public speaking. It is on my essential books list. But there is a passage which resonated with me when I read it. And he says, I don't want to be perfect. I want to be useful, I want to be good, and I want to sound like myself. Wow. So these are the 5 tips for you. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can comment below. Thank you once again.